Hey guys, and welcome to another video. So today's video is a very exciting one. We have a very awesome guest, and is my coach. Coach Paul is in the building. Well, not in the building. We're in quarantine life right now. I got him on a Zoom call. We talked all things competition prep, my training. We talked about like the competition season, and we even answered some of you guys' questions. Super exciting stuff. So you're going to want to save this one for a cardio session. It is a lengthier video, but it has great information. So I highly recommend you to stick all the way to the end and let me know what you guys think. Before we get started, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're new here, and also I want to give you a little bit of background on Coach Paul. He is an amazing coach to a lot of competitors actually, and I've been working with Coach Paul since 2017. He is really good at what he does. He has amazing videos here on YouTube. If you're not subscribed to him, you're living under a rock. Do it right now. Go over there, subscribe to his channel, and then come back here and watch this video. So let's get started. All right, guys, so I have Coach Paul with me here today. And Coach Paul, so many people have been looking at my training lately. They like to observe a lot and notice that it's been different, even though I haven't like really talked about it. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to bring you here and kind of talk a little bit of my training journey, like what we've been doing over the years, the past 3 years, and you know, what we've done to let us to this place and this position that we're in right now. And then after that, maybe we can dive into like talking about our plans for this season, which is a really exciting season. And if we have time, we could do some questions, but they seem to be very general. So if I don't get anything like that we haven't done before, then we could skip that.
I'm good. Yeah, you lead the way. I'll follow.
All right. So we started working together in 2017, right? And we started more with like a strength-based program, and it was really neat. I really enjoyed it. I did that for most of that year, and then we changed it slightly, but almost kept it the same for 2018. So what was your thought behind that? Because since the beginning, I trust you with my training, my nutrition, and my cardio. That's why I got a coach, you know, for them to take over and do that. And I feel like that's so important, especially when you're like a high level athlete and you want to be taken seriously, like, you know, leave it to the experts.
Yeah, I mean, my goal with you from day one was just to pack on as much size as possible, but I think that is also a strength component to that. So like the three most important things are, you know, getting stronger, staying healthy, and having fun. Like I don't want you to go in the gym and dread your workouts. So I think we've managed to do all three of those things. You know, it's you know, I think honestly, you don't need to vary your training that much. Like people love super nuanced training programs, but the basics work. So it's more about just kind of tinkering with those variables. And then, you know, I'm always a student as well. So the things that I was doing a couple of years ago, I've kind of changed my thoughts on, and I'm always evolving. And, you know, so yeah, the training that we're doing now is a slight variation on that. We're not programming your numbers specifically. We're focusing more on, you know, strength progressions based on your strength on that day. And then also we had to deal with your shoulder injury.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, it's fun. The one thing I've always loved about working with you is, you know, I've worked with some very well-known people and very high-level people, and to give somebody a training program and then go to watch their YouTube or Instagram and just see like, that's not at all what I have you doing. Like, why are you doing that type of training? Why are you, you know, and whereas I know if I ask you to do something, you're doing it. And I think the results show that. Like your physique, I mean, it's insane to me when you started checking in for prep this year, the differences I saw compared to when we first started working together. So that's and it's hard to have that faith because it's such a slow process, right? Like 3 years we've been working together.
Yeah.
But look how much your body has changed. And it's because we've stuck with, you know, consistently doing things the right way.
Yeah, I mean, especially with me, because I feel like from the very beginning, like
I feel like balance has never been an issue with me. It's just, I always was that smaller girl on stage. So I just needed to put on a lot of muscle. So I couldn't like, you know, sometimes I feel like so many people watch their favorite Fitspo and they see them doing like different things every day, maybe just doing bands and cable work over and over and never doing compounds or anything like that. And you're like, well, I want to do that because that looks fun. But what they don't realize is that that person took the time to build their physique. They might have gone through multiple strength programming before doing those fun, you know, workouts and things like that. And I feel like I've taken the time over the years to kind of like build that. And now we're at that point where we're just tweaking everything. I feel like we're still trying to build, but now it's like more specific and more focused. Just like you said, instead of going for numbers, we're just kind of like really just focusing on the strength progression based on that day. And that's been a huge game changer for me because I feel like my recovery is way better now. Like before, I felt like it would take me days to recover from a leg day because I would go crazy, you know, like I was literally like, it was almost like, I don't know, like I would need like 2 to 3 minutes sometimes to go through a heavy, you know, deadlift progression, and then just in rest in between sets and things like that. And now is not as much, but I feel like I feel like the volume is spread out more through the week. So it's easier for me to go heavier, if that makes sense.
100%. And that's, I mean, when I said my education continues, you know, a lot of the feedback that I get from clients is like, you know, the workouts are great, but they're grueling. And what I had a really, you know, I've become very good friends with Brett Contreras over the last couple of years. And so, you know, it's a privilege to know people that are doing the research and also putting the work in his gym. You know, he sees hundreds of clients come through his gym. And whenever he and I talk, he does not like the competition lifestyle. And so he really pushes on his clients on adding muscle to their frame for their overall happiness. They can eat more, they look better. And so what he and I often discuss is what is the best way to do both. And so when I started showing him some of my training programs, he's like, you know, these programs are grueling. Like, you know, people can get through this. And I'm like, oh yeah, they can get through it. And he's like, yeah, but you know, are they thriving? Are they getting stronger? And I was like, well, you know, I guess sometimes they're not getting stronger. It's more about their surviving. He's like, he always puts an emphasis on getting stronger. And so I sat down with him and literally like went day by day on your training program. Like you were the first person that I said, hey, Brett, let me bounce some ideas off you. And he came back and said, you know, oh, I see what you're doing here. Instead of a hip thrust on day 3, why don't you use a single leg hip thrust? That way you're not taxing as much. And, you know, so he's very thoughtful like that. And yeah, so that's the evolution that I'm taking as a coach is, you know, I think bodybuilding dogma has always been like, if you can walk the day after leg day, you did it wrong. But I don't necessarily think that's necessary for everybody.
I know. I'm really big on like training smart, especially after going through this, you know, shoulder injury and then going over to the right side and starting to flare up. I was like, no, I'm probably like either not taking care of myself very well, but like definitely training smart has been something that I had to learn, you know, and just leave things go on the side and not care. Because that's hard, you know?
Well, you've got the results too to show it, you know, and honestly, like people often ask me, why do you coach so many women? And I'll say this, I think women are much better at leaving their ego at the door. Like, you know, I've made a video yesterday and I said, I've never had a female inquire and say, my goal is to have 6-pack abs. That has never happened. But men, that's always their goal. And likewise, when you give a guy a training program, they're more concerned about what their numbers are. Like, oh, coach, you only have me benching 135 on this day. Like, I want to bench 225. And I'm like, well, that's not how progress happens. Women never question like the weights or the progressions. They just execute it and they put their effort into that. So it's a bit different. And I always enjoy that process with both types of competitors and athletes, but women in particular are just so open-minded to the process.
Yeah. And just to kind of like clarify and give some insight. So before we used to do, I would say like not really traditional, but almost kind of traditional, maybe like a little hybrid between a powerlifting and like hypertrophy training program.
Yeah, but very focused on a given day, like a lower body day, a back day. Yeah.
Exactly. So more traditional style. And now we're kind of doing, I wouldn't say a full body split, but kind of at the same time.
Well, I'm blending the frequency of the body parts we're trying to focus on.
Exactly.
With you, that's like lats and shoulders and glutes. Those are the areas that need to balance out with your quads and hamstrings. So, yeah.
So every day we're targeting either some part upper body and some part in the lower body, which is really nice because, like I said, the volume's just spread through the week. So instead of me going for like 2 hours straight on legs, now
Yep.
it's just an hour and I do half upper body, half lower body. And like I said, recovery has been amazing. And since I'm not literally like, say if I train glutes today, maybe tomorrow I do quads, right? So
Right.
it's not like I am constantly beating up my legs, but I'm beating up different body parts. So I'm recovered for the next time. And it's so nice. It's so nice. But it's been really cool. Like I said, I don't go much into detail. Like I show like my little hype videos and things like that, but I don't like break it down for them. So they were like, wait, you're doing what? 2 days? So,
Yeah, it's honestly not something I've talked much about either, because I'm still, like, you're on, I think, the third program of this style of training. So I'm still tinkering, with how it works. And it's such a case by case basis. I have some girls that put on muscle like without even trying, some girls that have been with me for 5 years and they haven't put on that much muscle. You, I would say, are a slightly above average to above average athlete. Like, you came to me with not a lot of training experience, but I also think you have a very good ability to put on lean body mass through this process, which we've shown, adding 4 pounds of stage weight after our first season, and who knows what we'll see this year. So that's a significant look.
I'm like not even trying to I tell George, maybe we're 10, 12 pounds away from stage weight. I have no idea because we were now for the first time a whole year off, full 11 months. But I mean, I feel like if we made that much progress last time in 6 months or 4 months, it was like a short.
After from universe to your pro debut, that was July to March. So yeah.
Yeah, if we added that much in that little amount of time, I can't wait to see what we added here.
Well, and the division has changed a little bit too, so they really are emphasizing shape and fullness over conditioning. Now, if you're not quite as muscular, you have to get a little bit more conditioned to show off your shape. But as you add more muscle, you don't have to come quite as shredded to show off your shape. So that's going to be an interesting change. We got you pretty shredded at 104. So if we're getting on stages here at 106, 107, that'd be a huge win. Everybody has different structural things. So it's not necessarily a number on the scale. It's the look and what weight you look your best at.
Exactly, because we've proven time and time again that even though I am the smallest girl on stage, it's all about shape because they don't really care about it. So about the actual weight. And now that the bikini division has evolved so much into what it is now, I'm excited because I feel like, I don't know, that's the look that attracts me the most. Like, I like it. I like what they're picking this time around. So that gets me excited.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think they're really doing positive for the athletes, because there was a couple of years there, I want to say 17, 18, where, I mean, girls were coming in with crazy shreds, and that seemed to be the way to go. And they've really fought back against that, especially at the national and pro level. You'll still see some regions that have more shredded competitors doing well, but they're making a point of it, and that's one of the advantages of you were my first real in-depth pro, where I was talking to the judges every week and going to the shows with you every week. So now I have those relationships where I get on the phone with the head judges at all these shows. They call me after, and they really let me know, okay, this is what we need to bring. And that's what happened with you, is we got some good feedback, made adjustments, and then we finally got some Olympia points.
Yeah.
And then we also knew they had been saying, you just need more muscle.
Exactly.
And so we didn't just continue to run you into the ground. We said, let's take this as a win. We got some points, and let's get back to work and come back with what they want.
Exactly. Like that day, I remember when they sat down with us and they were going through, kind of my feedback. I was like, you know what? It's time. When I heard Sandy saying hey, you need a little bit more size, I was like, it's time. That's all I needed to hear. I just needed to hear, Natalie, it's okay to take time off, get off, do what you need to do and come back better. And the fact that we were able to at least come out with a win and finish on a high, that's exactly what I needed for that whole year. That's what kept me going that whole year. And kept me positive and okay, I got what it takes. I can come back they won't forget about me, because I feel like that's such a big thing that competitors think that they're just going to forget about you, you know, but they're going to forget about you if you just keep showing up the same, you know?
Well, and so here's the thing that if you look at the placings of the pros, it ain't about the names. It's
Mhm.
about who looks great on that day. And that's one great thing about, having someone like Deraja last year just show up and just start winning. It was almost like validation for what we went through.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you start to feel in the bikini world like, okay, if my name isn't an Olympian or someone that's been to the Arnold multiple times, I'm just not getting in that first call out. And then when you finally got in that first call out, that was validation. And then, to see Deraja, do so well, it just lifts up so many people in the sport to see like, okay, they're judging what's on stage.
Exactly.
And I saw a lot of girls win shows last year that had never won shows. So I think that's going to continue.
Yeah.
Actually, the girl that won your show in Sioux Falls, Alexandra, that was her first win,
Yeah.
right? So like, it's not, and that was like maybe her third or fourth pro show, right? She hadn't done that many.
Yeah. No, but that was really exciting to see too, and inspiring, just seeing Deraja like take over like that. It was almost like, we got the win, because, it was all of us trying to like go for that. So it was really—
Well, if you had made your pro debut and won, I don't think I would have appreciated your first call out in Sioux Falls as much. Like literally a first call out as a pro is like winning an overall at a national show. It's like,
Yeah.
whoa, that's a big thing. So yeah, all I wanted for Deraja was just to get compared. And when she got on the first call out at her first show, I was like, that's all I needed. From anything from that was a bonus to me, so like, yeah.
No, that was really exciting. So speaking of that, like, what do you think is going to happen this year with the shows?
Well, I think a lot of the shows are going to get moved, I just had to have a conversation with a couple of pros yesterday about what we think. I think Tampa Pro is going to kind of kick off the pro season. They've moved the New York Pro back. They've moved the Toronto Pro back. That doesn't mean they're actually going to happen. That means they just changed the dates. They obviously moved the Olympia to December. So if things start moving forward, I don't know what's going to happen with Puerto Rico. That's an international technically show, I guess. But I think you and I have a really good plan to start off the year. I don't know if you're sharing that with people, but
Not yet.
okay. So I won't say what we're doing, but I think you and I have a really good plan to give you an opportunity. But I don't know. I think I kind of thrive on putting my athletes in a position to succeed, being flexible with our approach. It's not like all out for 10 weeks or 12 weeks to get on stage. We have the ability to take a diet break, to back off a little bit, to get feedback from one show and then choose our next show. We have the experience of you and I doing so many pro shows. We know now we're not putting our contract in 3 months in advance. We're gonna be smart. You're probably not going to do 50,000 photo shoots and a bunch of things in your season like you did last year or 2 years ago. So the lessons we've learned are gonna allow us to succeed this year. But I think it's up for grabs. I think the Olympia qualifications are going all the way until October now.
Yeah, they
And
extended.
that may even change. Like there's no guarantee that they don't say, okay, well maybe it's November 1st or something, so.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it got me excited because I was like, wow, that's more opportunity. And it almost like made this whole negative situation almost like feel like a blessing in disguise. As bad as that sounds, that's almost,
Right.
I'm like, well, maybe everything's just lining up for a reason, maybe all of this happened and now I'm, because we weren't planning on qualifying for this year. Our plan was to qualify for 2021 and start that season right when it opened up in August. But now that we have this opportunity, I was like, I'd be dumb not to take it. And just the opportunity of like being stuck at home is like being in prep already. So I was like, what am I doing? There's no reason for me to keep going on a building phase or maintenance when I could do some work right now and be ready when the show's open. And I don't know, I've been more focused than ever. And I feel like now that, like you said, we have learned from our mistakes and it's just part of growing, that this year is like a peace. Like I feel at peace and it's I know what to expect. I done the pro debut thing. And now it's just like for me, just to tweak everything and find that look, I feel like I still haven't nailed completely the look. I feel like we got really close on the last one, but yeah, I have some ideas.
Yeah, I think that, like you said, that the most exciting thing for me is that we had a plan and it's almost working in our favor now to be ready for when things really start to roll, because with being an Ifbb pro and getting Olympia qualified, sometimes it's picking the right shows. Last year, I want to say it was in November or December, they had a show in Niagara Falls, and the week before they had a muscle contest show out in California. The muscle contest show in California had 54 girls. 1 week later, Niagara Falls, they had 7. The Montreal show, I think they had 6 girls.
Yeah.
And then, the Clash had 44. So like, it's about being on the right stage at the right time. So
yeah, and who you get compared to, because people obviously, they don't know who's showing up that day. Like there could be girls that jump in at the very last minute, like what happened in the last show we did. So it's like you just never know who you're going to be compared to, and at that point everybody looks so amazing. Like, so it's just an honor to be on that stage now. So it's like fun. It's fun once you get to the pro stage. It's like, I don't know, it's different from when I used to compete as an amateur. It's like, I don't know, it's fun.
Well, you earn pro status by being ready to be a pro. Like, you did the national stage, and by the time you turned pro, you were used to that routine. You knew how to handle. I feel like you did your own tan at Universe, right?
No, but I did my tan on the first show of the season when I don't remember, and then I did it right after Universe, after the tanning incident.
Yeah, the tanning Universe was really bad that year. So I don't know. I just felt like you had a calm about you at Universe. Like you didn't get frazzled. Some of the girls were like having meltdowns.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with, your pro debut, and, there was a little bit of nerves there that you weren't quite ready for.
Yeah.
And then, the next show you went into in Indianapolis, you just had like a different presence to you, and you moved way up. So like, it's just the same thing. Like when you're ready, like that's what to me is fun for competing, is there's these tiers, that, you just got to earn your way up.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, and now that we're taking our time, like you said, like we're just taking our time with this prep, and we're really not doing any craziness too soon, just kind of taking our time. But yeah, let me get into some questions. Let me see if anything else.
Is this from YouTube or Instagram?
From Instagram. There's a lot. But like I said, I feel like a lot of them have been asked before, and we have answered them in other videos. Can you tell when meeting a client for the first time if they will do well in the sport or not? This one's for you.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's some basic intrinsic qualities that you notice about people right away that are going to succeed. First of all, that they're not in a rush. I think that's the biggest thing. People that are like, or girls that refuse to stop competing. That's my biggest concern, is when I hear people like, oh yeah, I did 3 shows last year, I'm going to do 6 shows this year. I just want to get my pro card. I just want to, you just start to hear that, okay, you're going to run yourself into the ground. This is a sport about building muscle. And I think with the information super age that we have and things being put out so quickly, people they want to do a show, get a pro card, go to the Olympia, and they feel like that's going to be their livelihood. But, there's so much more to it than that. And yeah, I think, that's why, as you know, now I do a consult with every potential client. 10 years ago when I was working with people to start, it was just an inquiry with an email, and I would set up their plans. Now I have to get to know people, and they have to get to know me. So yeah, absolutely. There's telltale signs. Success leaves clues. And so, that's something that as a coach, I've started to pick up on things over 10 years. Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on the channel, and let them know where they can find you.
Everything is Paul Revelia, YouTube, Instagram. My website's prophysique.com, and that's where we have a bunch of free resources on there, free ebooks. I even think I have a link to your posing on there. You're the official Pro Physique posing coach, for anyone that doesn't know that. But yeah, with Pro Physique, I'm just really focused on putting out a lot of free content. We're doing our first ever transformation challenge right now. We got over 1,000 people in that. So, for me, it's just about continuing to evolve as a coach and as, someone that's providing and supporting fitness. So.
Yeah. And I'll link all of that in the description box below. And I'm sure everybody that follows me already follows you.
Yeah, we're linked.
Yes. All right. Well, see you guys on the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.